Okay, hello all you crazy people out there. My name is Dragonite, and welcome back to Angels with Scaly Wings. I got the title that right, and I got my name wrong again. You know, I should probably just give up trying to call myself stupid, introduce myself as stupid when I do these recordings, because, it's just not gonna happen, because I have... When did I change my username to Dragonite Spam? That was 2014? I have like 5 years of training myself to introduce myself that way, and that's not a habit I'm gonna break very easily. Anyway, right after I stopped talking at the end of the last video, it occurred to me that, I mentioned the tutorial... I mentioned the, oh god, what was it? The crime scene investigation thing from the last video felt rather linear, and the game would immediately tell me if I got the right answer or the wrong answer. And it occurred to me that that might actually just be a tutorial. And, later on, if I have to do more of those, which I imagine I will, the game won't tell me, and if I get it wrong, bad things will happen, and there will be consequences other than just the game saying I don't think so. And in that case, I will be very interested to see how that goes, and possibly save scum to see what happens if I pick different paths. Or not, that might be a lot of effort. Or I might have to anyway, because if I want to, like, see the normal ending, then I might have to, like, get the right answer. Whatever. The other thing I want to mention is, what was the other thing I wanted to mention? Oh, I can easily see the story going in two directions. One is that it was Reza, and the story becomes about, like, finding Reza and finding out what he wants to do. And the fact that Reza is the suspect is just, or the perpetrator is just a given. Or it could just be, I could equally see it going in the other direction with him just being a red herring and somebody else causing trouble with, like, slashy claw wound thing, killing marks or whatever. And the game is about the actual perpetrator laying down a false trail to just make it look like him, and Reza's just gonna kind of be a dumbass on the side. We'll see. Anyway, where was I? I was reading is what I was doing. I already read this block. I was looking around and wondered when suddenly a voice penetrated the silence. Remy! I couldn't see who the voice belonged to, but it came from one of the more private areas in the back. It was followed by footsteps that approached it. Oh, you're still here. Of course I am still here. I have business to attend to. Certainly! I just assumed that is a telephone. So I don't know if everybody gets these or if it's just because the scammers go like, hey, Dragonite's family has a Chinese last name. But we get a weirdly large number of robocalls that are just people speaking in Chinese, and none of us actually speak it.
Hey.
So I have no idea if they're like just salespeople being annoying or actual scammers. But where I'm going with this is that it's very funny to hear a robocall done in the Chinese language, because so much of Chinese is like tonal, and robots aren't quite there yet. Anyway. Where was I? Certainly, I assumed you'd be almost done now, Emera. And I almost read that as Esmeralda, which is like twice as many letters as that name actually contains. Guess your assumption was wrong then. Be a good boy and bring me some coffee, will you? Of course, Emera. Is she like the boss, and is Remy the intern who's on coffee duty? I heard more movement, though I could still not see either of the two who spoke behind all the bookcases. I assumed the area was off limits to a visitor like myself and decided to wait. Here you go. Now let me read in peace, you silly boy. Of course. I heard him walk towards my direction until he emerged from behind a bookcase and spotted me. Oh, that's right. You're the guy with the necktie. Oh, hello, stupid. I didn't expect you so soon. Not like I had anything better to do. Better safe than sorry. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have come at all, which is probably true, but I'm not sure if it's a good idea to start off on that foot. Well, I'm glad to see you again at any rate. Who was that back there? I guess you heard that, didn't you? That was my superior. She's the, adjusting my headphones if you heard any funny scratching noises. That was my superior. She's the Minister of Culture and Arts, which means I'm technically in her employment, though generally speaking, I work for the council at large, just not her. So this is where you work, eh? Most of the time, yes. That makes you a librarian, I suppose. There's a little more to it. I'm not just in charge of the books, I'm a scholar and I study them too. For example, if the council requests knowledge on certain topics like facts, which is usually what you would be presenting if somebody asked for knowledge on certain topics, statistics or other information of interest, it is part of my job to research it and present it to them in an appropriate manner. That sounds ridiculously boring. That sounds like the kind of thing I'd like to do. No, it absolutely does not. You're basically an expert on everything. That's probably the way of making it sound as epic as possible, when the job is actually, like, as least epic as possible. Just thinking about doing that kind of work all day after day gives me a headache. Yeah, it sure does. I suppose it's a good thing that I am the one who works here and not you. Anyway, there was a particular reason why you wanted to meet me. Well, he is. You have myths about humans. That sounds important. I was bored and coming here seemed like the most interesting option. Alright, well, I want to find out about these myths about humans sooner rather than later. Oh, good. I thought I accidentally turned my recording off, and that would have been upsetting. Oh, right. I still have work to do, but I can show you something afterwards. Either way, now that you're here, you could help me with something. I've got some books that need to be sorted over there. I respectfully decline to help you. It's not like I have anything better to do. How do I fit them in alphabetically? Let's see, I want to, like, just not walk away completely. Unless if I decline, he'll just decide he has better things to do too and go with me or whatever. Let's get this over with, I guess. The arrangement you see in this library is based on a sophisticated system that sorts everything in a very intuitive manner based on a number of criteria: genre, author, complexity, and age. That sounds like Dewey Decimal, but worse. As you can probably tell, we have a lot of specimens, so just sorting them by alphabet would be far from sufficient and efficient. It's a weird way of saying it. That sounds really boring, that sounds really complicated, that does sound very intuitive. Realistically, there's probably more to the system than what he explained to me, so... Alright. Basically, these 8 books you see over there were all part of a section that was moved, so they have to be sorted into their new area. The problem is that their labels are so old they've started to fade away, which makes sorting them a little harder, and also why you make sure that your books are labeled properly so that this kind of thing doesn't happen. They will get new labels soon, but until then, we'll just have to make do with what we have here. All of them are by Hazik Akail. I did not pronounce that, and I'm not going to try. A writer on the subject of history, and a very prolific one, I might add. You will find the shelf that they belong to over there. Now it is just a matter of placing them in the right order, from oldest to newest. I have written down everything still legible from the old labels here. For someone like you, putting them in order shouldn't be a problem. Also, not only is the sign up here written in English, and I think I pointed that out in an earlier area in this story, but like they have the same fonts in this universe as they do in the human universe. I have written down everything still legible from the old labels here. For someone like you, putting them in order shouldn't be a problem. And I should probably stop like comparing this universe to our universe, because I think we've established that it's just supposed to be parallel right now. It's just that I find the idea funny. Of like convergent evolution of culture and stuff and whatever. In any case, except for knives, I have to remember, except for knives. In any case, I'll be working on something else in the meantime, so let me know once you're done. Hey, wait, don't go away. I wanted to bother you about mythology. The Third War is directly preceded. Is this going to be a logic puzzle? The Third War is directly preceded by the Spark. The First War is directly preceded by the Inception. The Invention is not third, seventh, or last. I need a sheet of paper. The Second War is the 4th book. There's only 1 book before the First War. Okay. The Enlightenment comes at some point after the Third War. Okay, no, hey, no, go back. Okay, good, I can do that. Paper. This paper doesn't look important, so I can write on the back. Alright. And there's a pen. And let me work on this for 30 seconds. I want to get this right. Okay, so Spark comes before the Third War, and Third War comes before Enlightenment. And just taking a purely wild guess, well, it's not wild, because it's based on the fact that the title is called Enlightenment. That feels like it would be the last book in the sequence after all these wars and everything. Although I don't think I can prove that by looking at these clues. But if I were to assume that... let me think. Enlightenment would be last, and... Spark comes directly before Third War, which would make Spark either 5th or 6th, and Third War either 6 or 7. And it can't be 5th or 6th because I've narrowed down the possibilities for Invention to be 5th or 6th. So that would mean Invention is 5th, Spark is 6th. What came after that? Third War. And my handwriting's getting messier, is 7th, and Enlightenment is 8th. And the only space left is 3, and what is the only one I haven't put in order yet? I did not organize these notes as carefully as I possibly should have. Inception, First War. Invention? No, invention is on the list already. Alright, this is gonna be the hardest part of the puzzle, is figuring out what I didn't write down. There are 8 titles on this list, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 7 titles on this list. I thought there were 8. But it says the invention is not 3rd, 7th, or last, which suggests that there are more than 7 slots open for books. And I think he actually said before this, if I were to scroll back a little bit. Can I scroll back? How many books are there? I think he said there were 8. Yeah, he said there were 8, but there's only 7 titles here. Alright, so I'm going to leave the 3rd slot open for now. And if there are not indeed 8 books in this pile, then this whole thing collapses. But we're gonna go with the first one is Inception. Wait, no, don't select the wrong thing. Show more books. Okay, I was gonna say the Inception. No, wait, hey! No, go back. Can I? Oh, good, I can do that. The second one is Second War, First War, whatever comes before second, whatever the first ordinal is. I wanted this. There we go. Oh wait, there's the Tribe. Okay, so that's the missing title that wasn't on the list. All right. The 3rd book is the Tribe. The 4th book is the Second War. The 5th book is Invention. I can't tell if my handwriting says Invention or Inception, but I think I already selected Inception, so we're gonna go with that. The 6th book is The Spark, which I assume is like the Giuseppe Princip murdering the Archbishop of whatever in Europe in World War I. The 7th book is The Third War, as opposed to the 1st. And the 8th book is The Enlightenment. Alright, I hope I got this right. I think that's it. You're done. Let's take a look then. Seems you got it alright. Awesome. Alright, I used my brain. I was not expecting to do that in a visual novel, and I am glad that I did. Alright, achievement unlocked, Librarian. Wait, that was optional? Okay, whatever. You brought Remy's books in the correct order. I did. That was hard work. It could have been worse. I've tried to reason through. I know there are solutions on the internet, and I believe there are actually 2 solutions to this, but the potion puzzle in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Philosopher's Stone, at the end. I've tried to reason through that one, and I have not been able to come up with an answer on my own, although I know other people have. Hey. So we'll go with that. That wasn't too hard. Alright, in any case, there's a box here that belongs in storage. You can put that away. I'll finish the last bit of sorting, and then we will be done for the day. Alright, sure. Yeah, more brains. More brain power. See you in a bit, then. Alright, phew, that is heavier than I thought. I lifted the box and carried it towards the shelf, but just as I was about to reach it, I tripped suddenly, sending me to the ground as the contents of the box spilled across the floor. And I really hope they weren't put in order in the first place, because that would mean I have to do it all over again. It sounds like there's metal in there. I scrambled to gather the various items as the voice of a dragon called out to me. Is everything alright? Yeah, peachy. Just peachy. Before I could answer, Remy came around the corner, his face bearing a look of disapproval. He stooped over and helped me pick up the spilled objects. Yeah, I'm fine. I was mainly asking about the priceless artifacts you just dropped. I really want to make fun of him, but I don't know if he's in the mood for that right now. Well, it doesn't look like anything is broken. That could have ended up much worse. What is all this stuff anyway? And once again, I am slamming down on the keyboard, on the spacebar, and that is rather loud. In preparation for your arrival, I wanted to study the knowledge we had on humans. And what did you learn? Heh, not much. The human is a creature shrouded in mystery and legends, yet one we apparently share some history with. Sure, Dragon, tell me I'm the mythological creature. Hey, I told the story about the writing prompt with the dragons telling stories about saliva, right? As the story goes, we dragons were once a primitive and savage civilization living in the caves and whatnot. So are we. We fought other creatures amongst each other for resources and territory. One day, a human arrived, he performed many miracles and gave us the gifts of electricity and reason. Not sure if that's how the timeline goes. We referred to this event as our awakening. What happened to them, and who were they anyway? They say it was a divine creature, a supernatural being that saved our species by making peace between us clans and uniting us as our numbers were dwindling from our pointless conflicts. And when the deed was done, they ascended to the heavens from where they came or turned into a dragon and lived among us, ruling with kindness and wisdom until the eventual passing, depending on who you ask. I think our mythology diverges a little bit at that point. And what do you make of the story? As unlikely as it sounds, there is evidence for a sudden unprecedented technological advancement in our timeline. We have artifacts from this time that couldn't have been built with the knowledge that we had back then. I'm starting to think you already have a theory. And this just throws the whole me trying to match up the Dragon timeline, the Dragon universe with like the 1950s completely out the window. And I must say I approve. Because that makes things even weirder, and I like weird in my visual novels. As evidenced by the fact that I'm, like, doing this right now. Indeed, I take it you are familiar with the way that portals through which you traveled here actually work. No. Absolutely not. It's simple, really. There are spontaneous wormholes that pop into existence. How do you know this? There are spontaneous wormholes that pop into existence now and then, but they are highly unstable in nature. Oh, they're highly unstable in nature. I was about to start complaining about your English mechanics, the way I spent most of Harvest December doing. But that was actually correct. Their highly unstable nature means that they instantly collapse in on themselves. The machinery of the portal merely stabilizes the wormhole so that we may utilize it. We actually are just taking advantage of a naturally occurring phenomenon. I mean, that's not correct. I definitely am interested, so... Long story short, my theory is that this legendary person stumbled upon one of these natural wormholes in the split second it existed, bringing them into our world. Being thrust into an unfamiliar world with no means to return to their own. Talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Oh, for God's sake, guys. Or just the right one, if you ask me. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here today. Oh, well, I would give to know more about them. How do you know so much about the portal anyway? We found it a while ago, so we've had time to study it. Not me personally, mind you, but I just followed its developments with great interest. You are the nerd, I suppose. What else have you discovered about it? Not much, I'm afraid. We didn't want to take the risk of permanent damage, so we won't do anything rash until we completely understand the technology and can replicate it for ourselves. So far, the only thing it has done for us was locating your portal and connecting us to it. From the interface, it appears to have more functions, but we haven't been able to get any of them to work. We were not even sure what it was capable of when we initially turned it on. Only after some time of being active did it actually find your portal, and only then were we able to make the connection. Cool, so, like, cosmic wormholes actually have built-in routing software, and they're able to find, like, the nearest, or most useful looking I don't know. Writer's license. Making that discovery must have been very exciting, especially when you made contact with us and started exchanging letters with us. Oh, you have no idea, especially when Reza arrived and he turned out to be a human of all things. Some people still worship them, you know. You've mentioned that before. How does that work? Do you have some kind of organized religion based around it? Not exactly. It's more of an adoration on a personal level. I count myself amongst them if it wasn't for the fact that I consider myself to have a more reasonable approach to it than others. For example, there are those that believe that there is much more to your sudden appearance than there really is. I think they expect some sort of miracle from you. That feels like a kind of weird foreshadowing. Similar to what was ascribed to humans in the past. Alright, well I can tell you that there is nothing supernatural about me. Those people are stupid. These last you don't feel like a good way to make friends. And I want to make friends with dragons because, well, I didn't choose my username for nothing. That's what I expected. Either way, as a scholar, I'm looking forward to seeing everything your PDAs have to offer. I could show you sometime. I see. Well, don't worry about explaining it to me. I'm sure that you have much more important things to do while you're here. It is just a question of the time until one of them ends up with me anyway. Actually, the PDAs are one of the reasons I volunteered to come here. What do you mean? I know them pretty well, enough to explain how they work at least. Of course, that's far from the only reason. I just thought I'd be the kind of person who'd meet all the requirements, and it turns out I was. I see. Well, it was nice of you to volunteer when you must have known that there would be considerable risks in coming here. You volunteered as well as us when you came to meet me, didn't you? I don't think this kind of thing would fall under your jurisdiction regularly. That is true, but by this point my interest in the matter shouldn't surprise you. I was more surprised that I arrived under the cover of darkness to meet an ambassador. I thought I wouldn't have seen much of you since. Initially, they thought I would have an official reception headed by myself. They wanted to have an official reception headed by myself, but in the end they changed their minds due to security concerns, as I told you to come back then. I suppose that's also why I'm being escorted by the police all the time. Yeah, that was supposed to be my job too until someone from the police department objected and advocated for more security. Probably Maverick, right? Better be safe than sorry, I suppose. Let me guess, that... How do you know that? Just a hunch. You know, things can't be too inconvenient when it comes to writing in these kinds of stories. At least I still got to meet you. And also, like, they don't want to introduce too many names to the players, as happens in real life. Were you nervous when you did? Only the brave or the foolish wouldn't be. I considered myself to be neither. I have to admit I was too. Oh my god, that text color. I was speechless when I saw you, and that wasn't just a side effect of the teleportation. I think you're pretty foolish. Alright, well, it was just scientific curiosity. You know what they say about curiosity and cats. You have cats in this world, right? I'm afraid I don't. There was a moment of silence between us, and our eyes met briefly, when suddenly a loud call echoed through the building. Remy! I'd better go and see what this is about. Maybe it would be better if you didn't stay out in the open. At the end of the hallway, maybe you can find my office to the right. Wait for me there. Alright, so he's gonna scoot off, and as soon as we plop ourselves down on a new location, I'm going to end the recording, and it looks like we're here already, so that's convenient. This has been Angels with Scaly Wings. My name is Dragonite Spam. I really need to get used to calling myself stupid in this game. Story, visual novel. In the next part, we're probably going to be poking around Remy's office without his permission, because that's exactly the kind of thing that this kind of character would do. I will see you all later.